Okay, so let's talk about our factoring question. And the next one reads, how do you factor x squared plus x minus 12? Okay, so in the last question, we covered the quadratic formula and how the quadratic formula is used to find the zeros or the solutions, and also implicitly how to find the factored form of a quadratic function. The problem with the quadratic formula is that it's kind of tedious to use for computations, and it's actually really reserved for when you're not able to actually factor it directly. So in this question here, we're going to try to factor our quadratic function directly. Okay. So I like to call this the cross multiplication method. So basically, if you have a quadratic function, let's say ax squared plus bx plus c, you can factor it into the form dx plus e times fx plus g, where d and f are factors of a, and where e and g are factors of c. Okay, so you can factor you can directly factor it using the cross multiplication method if and only if b is equal to d times g plus e times f. Okay, so the coefficients here can be factored into the factor form, with d and f being the factors of a and e and g being the factors of c, if and only if the coefficient b is equal to the product of d times g and summed with the product of e times f. Okay? So that's how you find the factored form, and I'll go into a little bit more detail than what it means by cross multiplication. Okay? So here's our quadratic function, x squared plus x minus 12. Okay? So the first thing that we want to do is we want to think of the factors of x squared and also of negative 12. Okay, so the factors of x squared is basically 1 and 1. It also can be negative 1 and 1. So let's just write it in this form instead. So factors for x squared is 1 and 1 or negative 1 and 1. And these are not coordinates. These are just the factors, okay? The factors of 12 or negative 12 can be 2, 6, negative 2, 6. The other way, it could be 2, negative 6. It could be, whoops, this one should not be here. It could be negative 1 and 12. It could be 1 and negative 12. It can also be 3 and negative 4. And it can also be negative 3 and 4. Okay, so these are the different factors and the factored pairs of x squared and negative 12. Okay, so we need to pick one of these pairs from the x squared and one of these pairs from negative 12. Okay, so I'm going to pick 1 and 1. And I'm going to pick negative 3 and 4. Okay, so this is where the cross multiplication method comes in, where we're going to cross multiply these two digits. So we're going to cross multiply 1 and 4 and 1 and negative 3. And once we cross multiply them, we're going to add them together. And if they are equal to the coefficient of the middle term, then sorry, I'm streaming right now. Sorry, give me a minute. Okay, sorry about that. Sorry about the interruption. So where was I? So I was talking about the cross multiplication of these two pairs of factors. And if you cross multiply them and add them together, and you get your middle coefficient, then you have found the pair of factors that contribute to your factored form. Okay. And last thing to note is that the order of how you cross multiply them matters, right? So I could have put 4 at the top and -3 at the bottom, and it would still give me the right answer. But there are some quadratic functions where the order of these of your factored pair matters. And hopefully in the future lessons I can show that. But we're going to continue moving on here. Okay. So once that you have found your proper factors and you put them in the right order, then this is your first term, and this is your second term. So this is your first bracket of factors, and this is your second bracket of factors. So now we can write out the factored form, which is going to be x minus 3 times x plus 4. Okay? So that's how you factor this quadratic function, and this is the entire method of doing so. In the future, if you continue to do more practice, you can really efficiently do all these steps in your head, and you can come up with a cross multiplication. And I would just suggest that for factoring, just know the factors of different numbers. The common ones, I would say, just know your factors all the way up to the digit number 12. And if you to do that, then you're able to factor a lot of different quadratic functions. Okay, but other than that, the solution is correct, and we can move on.